Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it.
So, I'm a bit of a gamer. If you've been around the internet for a while, you'll know that gambling is a bigger issue now than it's been in years. Gambling sites are buying F1 teams and streaming platforms. Everyone wants that cash. It really has gotten aggressive, with implementation in games which shot up in big titles after 2010, when Valve added crates that had all these funny little weapons and hats. And now it's an empire, with individual users owning millions of dollars and gambled and scammed items on games like Counter-Strike, and even some of the biggest controversies on the internet surrounding the topic. In the 2010s, mystery boxes became the norm, and that gambling mindset was truly baked into the identity of an entire medium. Billions grossed yearly, with the promise that maybe, just maybe, you'll win. But behind that blatant example of totally not gambling, a dark force was rising in the shadows. Modern consumers had been subject to another, more subconscious gambling epidemic. "17 years ago, March of 2007, J.J. Abrams would give a TED Talk that has led to a very specific evaluation of him as a director and as a storyteller. A talk aptly named The Mystery Box. Abrams was in the midst of preparing for his upcoming Star Trek film, but he was well known for his contribution to the beginning of the show Lost as well. Lost was an explosively big show, primarily riding off the mystery elements it presented, capturing audiences and starting a fever of questions in every single scene. Any question answered would lead to dozens more popping up, and the big picture was nearly impossible to fully grasp. Much like another phenomena under construction at the time that Abrams was producing. Cloverfield was a different beast, with a rollout online and trailers leaning hard into found footage, a website hosting an ARG to make the potential audience excited, and a confusing but captivating group of unknown characters to follow through the story. But the movie just asked more questions. Audiences were desperate for answers, and it was a hit. This is the mystery box in play. And as for why it works, I'll let Mr. Abrams explain it himself.
So one of the things that I bought at the magic store was this, Tannen's Mystery Magic Box. The premise behind the Mystery Magic Box was the following: $15 buys you $50 worth of magic. Now, I was looking at this, it was in my office, and as it always is on the shelf, and I was thinking, why have I not opened this? And why have I kept it? Because I'm not a pack rat, I don't keep everything, but for some reason I haven't opened this box. And I realized that I haven't opened it because it represents something important to me. It represents my grandfather. The thing is that it represents infinite possibility. It represents hope. It represents potential. And what I love about this box, and what I realized I sort of do in whatever it is that I do, is I find myself drawn to infinite possibility and that sense of potential. And I realize that mystery is the catalyst for imagination.
Now, we understand that the mystery box means a lot of things to Mr. Abrams, and it means a lot of things to others. But I'm here with a less rosy message. What if this approach kind of sucks? Mystery box storytelling is incredibly versatile, and it can be applied to almost anything, any genre. But it often fails to produce a satisfying story in just as many cases if you don't know how to apply it right. Most mystery box media is reliant on that mystery box being compelling enough to keep the audience hooked. It's why the concept is so often applied to a series of films or a TV show. But these mystery boxes can fall flat on their face when the audience realizes that the box is empty, or that it just has junk inside, and the fallout of that realization is tremendous. Audience reaction to Lost finale was very mixed, as can be said for several of the Star Wars sequels, where one of the biggest showdowns of creative vision took place all around the origins of its central characters. A mystery box that Abrams placed on a pedestal before it was unceremoniously torn open, and then closed again and opened a second time. Or Cloverfield, where answers were drip-fed through an ARG until just as the audience had it figured out, Abrams confessed that the creature was dead, breaking the entire narrative. And then later that it was alive, actually, and that it was dead. But then it showed up in another movie, but it was way bigger, and you get the idea. Something became clear over the 2010s. Between a clear lack of shared visions and the conflicting reports from writers, directors, and producers on the secret meanings of all of the mysteries years later, Abrams never really knows what will be in that box. He doesn't even know what's in his box. He said it himself.
Now, I bought this decades ago, and I'm not kidding. If you look at this, you'll see it's never been opened. But I've had this forever.
So what, right? This stuff sells. Yes, but the audience doesn't always stay happy, and it can leave burned bridges with lasting consequences on that front. I was researching to understand where and why that fallout happens when I found some analysis that encapsulated the phenomenon well from Reddit user Ben Wright's books. Mysteries and getting strung along are great. It keeps me engaged. If I don't have burning questions at the end of a chapter or episode, it's unlikely I'll keep following the story. However, what a storyteller needs to keep in mind, and where JJ's mystery box style of writing fails, is that every mystery is a promise to the audience that you're going to deliver a satisfying resolution to that mystery later in the story. With this style, the storyteller isn't focused on the answers, they're focused on making compelling questions. That's what breeds situations with so many loose ends that the creators can't even remember them, or can't possibly tie them up by the finale, as a result making a confusing or divisive mess. A mystery box can succeed when the writer already knows what's inside, or when what's inside doesn't truly matter to the audience. The most direct example possible I can give to you is Pulp Fiction. One of the largest questions Pulp Fiction leaves that remains debated to this day is what's in the briefcase. The plot makes the briefcase a clear object of interest multiple times, but it's never shown to the viewer, purposefully driving intrigue from the audience but never paying it off with a direct answer. Gold bars? A song? Who knows? We don't. I've never once seen a bad review of Pulp Fiction titled, "They never explain what's in the briefcase," because it's not the point of the film. It's just an objective of the characters, one that's routinely sidelined as other activities take center stage. The issue is, most creatives taking the route of the mystery box, like in gaming, only fill it with hot garbage, making picking a franchise to follow feel more like cranking a lever to see if a satisfying resolution comes down the pipeline. Luckily, change starts one meteor of an audience response at a time. If you don't want to answer a question definitively, don't make it a load-bearing pillar to the integrity of the characters or the plot itself. That just tends to leave problems.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But hey, if you really want to spin that wheel, write that cliffhanger. Maybe you'll win big.